Hey everyone, I'm going to take a look at the Japanese and Mexican League packs that were recently released on eFootball. These are nominating contract packs, and the players are all 3-star and 4-star. So if you've got any 3 and 4-star contracts that you need to use up, hopefully I can help you to choose which players to use them on. So we'll start off with the J League pack. So in this pack, the very first player we're going to look at, I think, is one of the better ones, certainly one of the better 3-star ones, Sarachat. He's a whole player. I've got a version of him from the Thai national team pack, whatever it was called, about a year ago. This kind of looks similar the way it's kind of maxed out. Obviously, you could train that one that I've got, but it ends up pretty similar to this. The one difference with this one though is you can play him as an SS, which I think is a big plus point because I like him in that position, especially with that whole player playing style. So you look at the main strength he's got. His attacking awareness is decent, low pass is decent. He's not brilliant on the ball. It'd be nice if he was into the 80s for some of these. Although it's worth bearing in mind he's quite short. He's got a low center of gravity and he's got good balance. So he should be pretty maneuverable. Finishing 79 could be better, but it's not the worst either. You can play him as a striker, but I think with that finishing at 79, you're probably better off using him as an SS or an AMF. He does have good pace. As I say, good balance. The stamina at 80, not brilliant, but it's not too bad. When you look at his skill set, he's got a bunch of dribbly stuff. If you like your dribbling, you might like this guy. He's got long range curler and first time shot. That will help compensate for his finishing not being the best for a forward. And obviously one touch pass as well, which is a very important one for anyone playing in that kind of number 10 area. Me personally, having used the version I've got, which is similar to this, I think AMF and SS are the best positions to play this guy. He is neat. For a 3-star, I think this is a good card. I think if you've got 3-star non-in contracts to use up, he's definitely worth picking up, giving him a try. I think he's pretty neat and could be a useful one to have for the J League challenge whenever that pops up. And then next we have Nakano. So this guy, he can play right back, right midfield. He can play centre back as well. Cross specialist playing style. The main strength this guy's got is clearly his pace. He's got really good pace. Defensively, he's okay. So as a fullback, I think he'd do all right. Not brilliant, but he's not bad either. For a 3-star especially, I think he's okay defensively. Down the left, you see on the ball, he's a little bit lacking, especially with the tight possession. So you're going to have to be careful in possession when you got the ball with this guy. His passing for a fullback or a right mid, I think is all right. You know, the low pass isn't brilliant, but lofted pass 83. And when you look at the skill set, he's got pinpoint crossing. He's also got weighted pass, so he's going to have a good cross on him. Interception as well, so if he's playing right back, that's handy. If you're going to try him as a centre back, obviously he's only really got interceptions as a defensive skill, and his defenses aren't brilliant. I think if you're really desperate in the J League challenge, he's not the smallest. At 182 is about 5'11", but with that pace and interception, I think if you were going to play him at centre back, if your opponent's got a pacey striker who's giving you issues, he could slip into centre back and do a job for you there. But I think that's one of those ones where it's kind of if it's an emergency situation, none of your centre backs have got form. He's really best playing right back or right mid, but yeah, not a brilliant card overall. Obviously a 3-star, but I think on the whole he's a useful one. Might be a decent one to have in your squad when the J League event pops up. And then we have Yamada. Yamada's got some strengths. Again, he's got pretty good pace. For a box-to-box midfielder, he's not brilliant on the ball. His dribbling's alright, but he's a bit lacking with the ball control, certainly the tight possession. Passing's decent. For a 3-star card, 82 and 80 there, that's pretty decent. Defensively, he's not brilliant. You can get away with it. If you're going to play him as a centre midfielder, he's got the box-to-box play style. And you can cover a bunch of positions here, but as a centre mid, you're going to need another midfielder in there doing the defensive work. If you've got that, and you've someone behind him kind of cleaning up defensively, then he could be a handy box-to-box. But yeah, stamina 80 is not the best. He is going to get tired. And like I say, a bit lacking on the ball. He's not brilliant. He's kind of a useful player. The fact that he can play a bunch of positions. He can play left, he can play right, he can play through the middle. Looking at the skill set, he does have one-touch pass and through passing. So with his passing stats being decent, he should have a decent pass on him. Track back and interception as well. So not the best defensively with those attributes, but with track back and interception, he could do a job at centre mid. Or he could be an attacking mid with a one-touch pass and through passing. And with the defensive skills on top of that as a little bonus, he could be useful. I don't think he's brilliant. He's got inconsistent form as well. But again, I think he's one of these ones where when it comes to the J League event, if you need players on form, and if he does have form in any given week, he could be a useful one, but it's not a brilliant card on the whole. And we have Inukai. This is a centre-back, so first place you look for a centre-back down the middle. The first two attributes there are good, but then aggression 76, defensive engagement 78, that especially is a concern. It's not brilliant. His pace is pretty average for a centre-back. Physically quite strong. His jumping's alright at 81. 5'11", 81 jumping, not brilliant, although heading at 86 is good. He does have aerial superiority and heading as well, so that will compensate and make him pretty reasonable in the air, if not brilliant. Interception, blocker, acrobatic clearance, a nice bunch of skills there for a centre-back. He doesn't have man marking. That's one thing I would like a centre-back to have. And keep in mind as well, he's an extra front man, so he's going to go wandering forward, getting up into the midfield sometimes, so he will vacate his position a bit. That playing style is not for everyone with a centre-back. I don't personally like it, so it's a bit of a concern for me. And with the defensive engagement being a little bit low as well, I'm not so keen on this guy. You could get away with him, but like I say, keep an eye on the defensive engagement and that extra frontman playing style, because they might put a few people off him. Then we've got Min-Tae, who's a centre midfielder. Only one position he can play. That keeps it simple. Box-to-box playing style. So, good ball control, good passing. Defensively, like Yamada, it's not brilliant, but you can get away with it. You just need another midfielder in there who's good at defending to cover for him. Pace is pretty average. Not the strongest physically, but stamina is very good at 89. For a 3-star card, that's a really good rating for stamina. The skill set, one-touch pass, weighted pass, that's good. So he's got good passing on him. Pinpoint crossing, I don't see him getting into wide positions much, so I wouldn't really factor that in too much. Interception is an important one for a box-to-box, that's good. And then captaincy and fighting spirit, nice bonuses. He's just a kind of a pretty orthodox box-to-box, really. Nothing really outstanding about him, but he could certainly do a job in there. Keep it simple with him, don't try and do anything fancy. And with the good control, good passing, good stamina, could be a useful one to have. Ohashi. Not a big fan of this guy. So, first off, deep lying forward. Not a playing style that everyone likes. He's not going to be particularly aggressive with his attacking runs. He's going to kind of sit deep quite a bit, get involved in the build-up. He's not going to be running behind the defence a great deal. He's got decent pace, but not the strongest physically, not great balance, not great stamina. Down the left, the attacking awareness is okay for a 3-star. It's not brilliant. On the ball, he's not good. The ball control is not too bad, but the dribbling and tight possession are poor. Passing is not great. Does have good finishing, so a bit of pace and good finishing. When you look at the skill set, first time shot, long range shooting, so that's good. Through passing is a nice bonus. That slightly compensates for the fact that his passing is not great. Aerial superiority, so he's about 5'10", 5'11", but with the jumping physical contact, I don't think that aerial superiority is going to really make him that great. It's just going to compensate slightly for the fact that he's not the strongest in the air. On the whole, there's not enough good about this guy for me to really rate him. I don't like the playing style. He's technically pretty weak. He can finish, and he's got decent pace, but that's about it. So for me, it's not a great card. Then we have Funaki. So another fullback who can play wide midfield as well. This is a left footer. Again, cross specialist. The first thing that stands out, lofted pass 87. He's got 80 curl as well, 82 kicking power. So with the pinpoint crossing skill, this guy's got a deadly cross on him. He's got really good crossing. Weighted pass and low lofted pass as well. And then going back, he's got interception and fighting spirit. So he can defend. You can use him as a fullback. The pace is okay for a fullback. It's not brilliant. Remember, this is a 3-star card again. Not the strongest physically. Stamina's decent. Down the left, like I say, the lofted pass is great. Low pass is all right. You're going to need to be careful on the ball. He's not brilliant on the ball. You know, the control's not too bad, but dribbling and tight possession, a little bit iffy. So don't try and, don't ask too much of him when you're carrying the ball, but he does have some product with his left foot. He's defensively okay. He's got interception, remember. And again, with the pace being all right, stamina's reasonable. He's another useful one. When these J League challenges pop up, having a player like this, if he's got form, he can cover both left back and left midfield for you. So I think he's a reasonable card. Not a brilliant one, but he could be useful. Then Kante. So Kante has been playing quite well, although his last match he got sent off for headbutting someone. So that's how you get into Player of the Month apparently. But yeah, he's been playing all right. This is a reasonable card. The attacking awareness 83. We're on to the 4-stars now. So attacking awareness 83, finishing 87. It's good finishing. But on the ball, again, not brilliant. The control is not too bad. Dribbling and tight possession are pretty poor. 74 low pass isn't bad, actually, for a striker. Pretty average pace, kicking power and physical contact is a strong boy. Jumping 78 is about 6 foot. So looks okay in the air. When we look at the skills, he doesn't have aerial superiority, so I don't think he's going to be brilliant in the air. But he does have acrobatic finishing and heading, so he might be getting on the end of some crosses for you. But in terms of his finishing, long range curl is good, but there's no first time shot, and that's a big concern for me. He's got one touch pass, and that goes well with the fact he's got 74 for low pass. But without first time shot and the fact he's a bit dodgy on the ball, his balance isn't great. I feel like he could be pretty awkward and frustrating when you're trying to get shots away. So for me, for a 4-star card, I don't think this one's great. And again, it's another deep lying forward, so you're going to have to deal with the fact he's not going to be too aggressive with his attacking movement. You know, that playing style might work well for some of you, but for a lot of people, it's not so great. I'm one of them. So for me, on the whole, I'm a bit put off this guy, the playing style, the fact he's not got a first time shot. I just think he's not going to be great, to be honest, especially for a 4-star. Then we have a 4-star centre-back, Min-Tae. So at first, this guy looks pretty solid. You see the 90 for defensive awareness. That's very good for a 4-star. The other defensive attributes, not brilliant, but they're at least in the 80s, so they're okay. Pace, not the quickest, but not too bad. Jumping is a little bit lacking. He's 6'1", about 6'1.5". So he's a decent height. Physical contact is good at 85, heading 84 as well. When you look at the skill set, he does have heading and aerial superiority. So I think on the whole, jumping not the best, decent height, aerial superiority. I think it all kind of evens out. He's going to be all right in the air overall. I certainly don't think he'll be weak in the air. But although he's got man marking there and sliding tackle, the big concern for this guy, the big letdown, there's no interception and there's no blocker either. And also no acrobatic clearance. So he might be quite a strong guy with some reasonable defensive strengths overall, but without interception, blocker, or acrobatic clearance, that's a big letdown for me, and that puts me off getting this guy because it just worries me to think how he's going to be getting his foot in, getting his foot on the ball, winning his tackles, making blocks and clearances. He looks alright on the whole, but those skills are important. So you could take a risk on him. He might do alright for you, but for me, without those skills, I don't want to waste a 4-star on this guy. Then we have our goalie. So Hayakawa, this actually I think is one of the best goalkeepers we've had in the J League packs. Again, it's 4 stars, but when you look at the goalie attributes down here, 80 plus for all 5 of the key ones. 85 for awareness, 87 reflexes, 85 reach. And then catching and parrying, you often get a bit of weakness in 1 or 2 of those, but both of those over 80. So he's actually looking pretty good. The one concern, 74 for jumping is not brilliant. He's about 6'1.5", so he's another one who's 187 centimeters. So it's it's a reasonable height for a keeper, but I would just watch out for that jumping. The high balls into the box, chip shots, crosses. He might be a little bit iffy, but I think the most important thing down here is that his core goalkeeping attributes are pretty good. So I think this is one of the better goalkeepers you're going to get from the J League Player of the Month packs, and I think certainly because there aren't that many keepers that good from the J League, when the J League event pops up, this could be a really good card to have. So I'm going to be picking this one up myself. And then finally, we've got Patric. So another of these inverted wingers, wide left forward, but right-footed. And the obvious thing that you look at here, he's got great pace, he's got great dribbling. So it's pretty obvious how you're going to use this guy, get him on the ball, make some runs inside from the left flank, get him into shooting positions. 81 for finishing. He does have some weaknesses. The control isn't brilliant. Tight possession is a bit poor. Passing really isn't the best. But with the pace, the dribbling, and the finishing, it's obvious what you're going to do with this guy. You look at the skill set. Long range shooting, one-touch pass and through passing. So he's got some product. The one-touch pass and through passing are just going to compensate with the fact his passing isn't great. So that's not too key. But long range shooting is certainly nice. 81 for finishing, of course. And then super sub. That's key, super sub, because stamina's only 68, so I think really the best use of this guy is having him on your bench, and then if you bring him on the second half with the pace, the dribbling, the finishing, and the fact he's got super sub, he could be a really dangerous player to have on the pitch, especially as a super sub, playing in that wide left position, getting inside into shooting positions, could take some chances for you. I think that's if you like this type of player that fits into your system, I think especially in the J League challenges, this card could be pretty effective. So that's the J League pack. Let's now have a look what we've got in the Mexican one. So again, these are all 3-star and 4-star players. We'll start with Silva. So another extra frontman centre-back. And the first thing you notice, his defensive engagement is terrible. 70 is just really poor. Jumping at 75, he's 6'1". He doesn't look brilliant in the air. He doesn't have aerial superiority. He has interception, sliding tackle, but none of the other defensive skills you'd want from a centre-back. So I don't think there's much more needs saying about this guy. Even for a 3-star, I think this is a pretty weak card, and I'm not going to even consider getting him. Then Martinez, centre forward. He's a target man, 6'3". Target man, not a play style everyone likes. He's going to kind of similar to a deep line forward. He'll loiter around. He's not going to move around too much. The attacking awareness is decent. The finishing is fantastic, actually, at 89. Good heading. Physical contact is excellent at 92. Jumping's not brilliant, although he's 6'3", so, you know, he should be decent in the air. Pace, pretty average for a big, strong target man. On the ball, though, he's really poor. You're going to have to be careful with him. You expect that from a big, strong target man type of striker, but he is technically quite poor. You look at the skill set, heading, aerial superiority, first-time shot, so he's going to be good in the air. And he's got first-time shot. That's the most important one for a striker. So if you like your big target man, you're going to be putting a lot of crosses into the box. He could be effective for you, but beyond that, like I say, technically he is pretty weak. He's pretty lacking. So if he doesn't fit perfectly with the way that you play, I don't think you're going to want to pick this guy up. And then the last 3-star in the Mexican pack, Oliva. So we have an orchestrator. He can only play defensive but not centre mid. Looking at the attributes, average pace. Physical contact stands out. 85 is good. He's a physically strong player. Balance isn't brilliant though. Stamina's pretty good for a 3-star especially. Defensively, he's okay. Not brilliant, but not too weak either. And then he's another one of these players who you're not going to be doing a lot of dribbling with him. You're going to have to be careful not to ask too much of him when you're carrying the ball, but he does have good control. And his low pass there at 91, he's got really good passing on him. When you look at the skill set, all he's got is one-touch pass, which is a bit of a shame. So he is a bit lacking. Only one skill. It is probably the most important skill for a centre mid, but without more defensive skills, only playing defensive midfield positionally, and as an orchestrator, that means he's going to be holding back quite a lot, not making many attacking runs. He's certainly got his weaknesses, but he does have his qualities. He looks like he's ultimately a very good passer with the ball. He's going to play that kind of deep line playmaker role. He'll sit deep. You get him the ball, you keep it simple, you pick a pass. He's got good passing on him, so if he suits the way you play it, that kind of deep line playmaker, he could be effective for you. But like I say, he's certainly got his weaknesses as well. Then on to the 4-stars, Unai Bilbao. So again, a centre-back, and the first thing you look at, defensive engagement 71. It's just not good enough, especially on a 4-star card now. We're onto the 4-stars. It's not good enough. Jumping is only 75. He is a tall guy though. Physical contact is fantastic. He's a bit slow. The other defensives are all right, to be fair, pretty good. Heading 83. But then the skill set, he does have areas of priority. He doesn't have heading though. He does have interception, blocker, and acrobatic clearance. So really, all you're really lacking is heading and man marking, maybe sliding tackle. So he's got some strengths, he's got some qualities. He's quite a big, strong boy. But like I say, he doesn't have all the skills you want, and that defensive engagement 71, that scares me. Personally, I wouldn't touch a centre-back whose engagement's that low, so some might want to give him a try. You know, he does have some good skills and some qualities, but ultimately the weaknesses for me have just put me off him. Then we have Reyes. So quite similar to Funaki from the Japanese pack. He's a left back. He can't play left midfield though, but he's a player who's got decent pace and he's got a good cross on him. But he's not brilliant on the ball with his dribbling. It's a similar kind of balancing of the attributes, to be honest, to Funaki, but yeah, he does have a good cross on him. He's got pinpoint crossing. He's also got one-touch pass, which is a nice one to have. But you'll notice defensively, he can only play as a left back, and there's nothing there. No interception, no blocker, no man marking, nothing like that. Defensive attributes, good engagement at 82, but the rest, not brilliant. It could be worse, but not brilliant. The pace is decent, as I mentioned. Balance is pretty good. Fantastic stamina. So on the whole, as an attacking fullback, which is what he is, he could be useful for you. If you don't mind the fact he's not brilliant at defending, he will be pretty capable getting forward with his pace and his crossing ability. But be careful with him on the ball, because he's not going to be brilliant at dribbling. And like I say, defensively he is a little bit weak. So not going to be for everyone, but could be useful for some people. Then we have Torres. So this is one of the ones I'm going to pick up because he doesn't have the glaring weaknesses that a lot of centre-backs have in these packs. He's 4 stars again. The rest of these cards are all 4 stars. He's not exceptional anywhere down the middle. These core defensive attributes, all in the 80s. Pace is okay, not brilliant. Aerially and physically, he's very strong. 82 for heading as well. Stamina of 83 is pretty good for a centre-back. That's very good for a centre-back. And then when you look at the skills, heading and aerial superiority, he's also got acrobatic clearance, he's got blocker, he's got interception. The only thing really is lacking is man marking, and I do think man marking is perhaps a somewhat underappreciated skill for a centre-back. I think it's pretty important personally, but that's the only thing he's really lacking across the board. I think everything else, he's looking pretty decent. So for a 4-star centre-back, I think he is decent, and I think especially since there aren't that many good centre-backs from the Mexican League, whenever the Mexican League challenge pops up, I think this could be a really useful one to pick up. So I think for that reason, primarily, I am going to get this guy. I think he's a fairly solid card. Then we have Rivera. So another orchestrator from this pack. This one's a 4-star. Again, the pace is pretty average. Good physical contact, not so much balance, decent stamina. Similar to the previous centre midfielder we were looking at, orchestrator, or defensive midfielder as he was. But defensively, this guy's actually pretty strong. The awareness is okay. The other defensive attributes, pretty strong, all in the 80s. On the ball control isn't brilliant, but it could be worse. But then the dribbling type possession, he's a little bit iffy on the ball, so you'll have to be careful not to ask too much of him when you're carrying the ball. But low pass is good though at 86. And then when you look at the skill set, there are a few more skills here. So we've got one-touch pass, through passing, weighted pass. He's got some nice passing on him. And then he's got man marking, sliding tackle, fighting spirit. Man marking is a good one to have, playing as a defensive midfielder especially. Not quite so important centre mid, but he is an orchestrator. He will be sitting deep. He won't be making too many attacking runs. It would be nice if he had interception, and even better if he had blocker. But yeah, that's the one thing that I think he's lacking, is interception. I think he's a player who, you know, he's not brilliant on the ball, but he is physically strong, so he should be okay on the ball as long as you keep it simple. He'll be able to pick a pass, and he will be able to do his defensive work, even if he doesn't have all the defensive skills that you want. So I think on the whole, as a 4-star, he's okay. He's not brilliant. He does have, you know, 1 or 2 weaknesses there, but he could do a lot worse. So I think some people might like this guy. Then we have the first of 2 wingers in this pack. Fulgencio. Got 2 guys you can play out wide. So I think it's similar to John Patric really in the J League pack. You see the great pace, 95 for speed. This guy's rapid. He's great on the ball again with his dribbling. His passing, pretty decent actually. Lofted pass 81 in particular is not bad at all. You look at the skill set though, all he's got is self-control and outside curler. 2 nice skills to have, but in terms of end product, he's lacking. You know, no through passing, one-touch pass, long-range shooting, pinpoint crossing, none of that. So a bit frustrating. You're going to have to be careful with him when it comes to his passing and shooting, but he could be worse with the end product. I think ultimately, if he's the type of player that you like to use, a wide forward who's quick and is good at dribbling, he could be a useful one to pick up, but the lack of end product is what concerns me, really. And then I think what I'll do, I'll naturally go straight from him to the other wide forward that I mentioned. So again, this guy can't play left mid or right mid, but wide right forward or left forward, similar player. Great pace, very good at dribbling as well. And again, the end product's a bit lacking. Lofted pass is decent, low pass and finishing not so great, decent balance. But the difference with Rodriguez here, he's actually got a bit of end product with through passing. Again, he's got some decent skills there if you like your tricks and your dribbling, but through passing will compensate a bit for the fact that his low pass isn't the best, and his lofted pass at 80, like I say, is not too bad. So again, same type of player. He's a right footer. You could play him on the right, lofted pass at 80, maybe get some crosses in, but I think with both these wide guys, they're best probably as an inverted wing on the left, and if that's the type of player you use, could be useful. Just with both of these guys, you've got to be careful with the end product because they are a little bit lacking, but again, great pace, great dribbling, so they could be fun players to use. Then Tiago Volpi, our goalkeeper. So again, similar to Hayakawa in the J League pack, 4-star keeper, pretty good when you look at the core goalkeeping attributes. 88 awareness, 94 reflexes, that's really good. 94 reflexes is fantastic. Catching and parrying both over 80 is good. Don't always get that. Reach at 81, he's about, again, 187 centimeters. Reach 81, not brilliant, but could be worse. But again, like with Hayakawa, jumping's a bit low, and it's especially low with Volpi because it's only 68. So you will have to be careful with the crosses, the long balls into the box, the chip shots. He might come up short, pun intended. The 68 really isn't brilliant, but he does look like a really good shot stopper. So I think on the whole for a 4-star keeper, and again, with the Mexican League Challenge, not that many top players in the Mexican League, so he could be a useful one to pick up. I may well pick this guy up myself. And as a nice little bonus, he's got penalty specialist. He's actually a penalty taker in real life for Toluca. He scored a few penalties for him, so that might be a little fun one to have for you. But yeah, I think on the whole, keep an eye on the jumping, but pretty decent goalkeeper and especially a good shot stopper. And then finally, Dourado. Rodrigo Dourado, for me, is the best player out of both these packs. I think he's a really good card, and I think he's the one player out of the 2 packs, more than any other, who you could really find quite effective just in general, not just in the Mexican League Challenge, but if you're playing in divs or whatever, I think he could actually do a job, because he's not particularly strong everywhere, but he's strong where he needs to be. He's a defensive midfielder, destroyer playing style. That's really what he wants to do. You want to play him in front of the defense as a defensive midfielder, and he's just going to destroy. You know, his defensive, all you see 385s and then 90 for tackling. Physical contact, he's a strong boy. Jumping 78, heading 79. He's 6'1", so he should be reasonable in the air. He's not the quickest, that's something to keep in mind, but you know, and balance as well at 70, so not the quickest or the most nimble, but for a strong, big, strong defensive midfielder, you kind of expect that a lot of the time. Stamina's decent. And like I say, he's strong where he needs to be. He's not a dribbler, but he's got 80 ball control. 84 for low pass as well is good. And then when you look at the skill set, again, he's not got everything you want, but he's got the important stuff. He's got one-touch pass, and then defensively, man marking, interception, acrobatic clearance. There are some skills that you might like to have, like blocker, for example, maybe through passing, but ultimately, this guy is strong where he needs to be. You know, he's a 4-star card, but I think for a 4-star card, especially when you look how strong he is defensively, I think this guy's really good. So if you've got any 4-star contracts knocking around and you're looking to choose someone to use them on, I think this guy is probably your best bet. I think it's a very, very, very good card for a 4-star. So there you go. That's the 2 packs covered. I think on the whole, in summary, out of the 3 stars, you've got 2 fullbacks here from the Japanese pack, Nakano and Funaki. Both useful players you could cover at right back and right midfield, or left back and left midfield. And then you got a pretty orthodox centre midfielder there in the box-to-box centre mid. I think Supachok is a neat little number 10. It's a shame he's not better on the ball with his dribbling and control, but I think the fact he's small and nimble might make up for that. I like the guy. And then for me, 4 stars, there's a few wide forwards. Rodriguez looks decent, quick, good dribbler. Patric, I think, similar, but the fact he's got super sub and a bit more end product could be a very effective one. And then both goalkeepers, I think, from both the packs, you've got a 4-star keeper who might not have particularly high jumping, but some good core goalkeeping attributes. Both look like very good shot stoppers. Then Torres, I think, is a solid all-round centre-back, especially for the Mexican League Challenge. And as I just mentioned, Dourado, for me, I think is the pick of the bunch out of both these packs. He's a really good, solid defensive midfielder, especially for 4 stars. So there you go. If you've got any 3-star or 4-star contracts to use up, you're looking to decide who to use them on. Hopefully this has helped you to decide which players to pick up. Thank you for watching as always. Keep your eyes out tomorrow. There's going to be 2 Player of the Week packs coming out. There's a Worldwide Player of the Week, and there's also a Champions League Player of the Week. So I'll be doing reviews as always on both of those. So thank you for watching as always. I'll see you next time.